What's up, skate fam? Welcome to Deez Skates. I'm your host, David Lolliette. I know, it's been quite some time, but today we're here to talk about skater safety and specifically these TXJ Sports protective pads. About 6 months ago, I was contacted by a company on Instagram that call themselves Spassive. Now, I learned that Spassive calls themselves Spassive in Europe, but in the United States region, they go by the branding TXJ Sports. This is on their wrist guard. They asked me if I would be willing to test their product and do a review of it and give some thoughts about it. So I agreed, and I've been using these pads for about 6 months. And today, I just want to dive into that and tell you the things that I like about these pads and the things that I don't like about them. Also, if you're new to the channel, before we get started, make sure to scroll down, click that subscribe button, click the bell so you get notified anytime I release a new video. I'm working on a really big project right now. I have a journal article that I've been writing about skater safety and how to fall properly. It's about 13 pages, so I've put a lot of work into it, and once I get it polished, I'm gonna be releasing it to the public, and I'll have a whole video talking about skater safety and how to fall safely and yada yada. So to get started, TXJ Sports sent me this bag. It has wrist guards, elbow pads, and knee pads in it. The first thing that I can say about these pads is that they are very lightweight. I like how light they are. They don't feel too thick and bulky. They don't feel like I have giant armor on, and we'll get to that. I mean, there is a time and a place for that sort of thing, but sometimes you don't want that much. Sometimes you want to be able to fit your pads under your clothes. I can fit these knee pads underneath my clothes. You can see there is some scratching here because I've been sliding on them, and also I have some damage here on the wrist guard, and that is because if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I took a little spill in these and landed on my hand. Now, I did not land directly on my hand, but I can say that these definitely saved my hands from getting some road rash, and it's possible that they saved me from breaking my wrist in that instance. I don't know if I would have. I don't think I would have. When I'm skating in the city these days, I always try and wear pads. The thing that I like about these pads, like I said, is that they are lightweight. Now, one interesting part about them is that they have a gasket sleeve, and you can slide your leg into this sleeve. With the elbow pads, it's the same. Now, you do not have to use the sleeve. If you want to put them over your clothes, you can just use the sleeve, just keep the sleeve in front as extra padding. As far as their usefulness goes, I definitely feel that they have proven themselves in the city. Taking a knee or wrist down, falling on the pavement, they've definitely done their job. I like them. I feel they're protective. If I were to drop on my knees fairly hard, I can tell that they're thin enough that I'm going to feel a little bit of shock, but I'm not going to get injured. And it's nowhere near the amount of shock that you're going to feel wearing these Anui or G-Force, depending on which brand you go for. You're not going to feel as much shock in these as you are going to feel when using these armored gaskets, because the armored gaskets are fairly thin and they're not really designed to slide when you need them to slide. So these, I would say, they feel more effective than those, and they are also thin enough that they can go under your clothes. I mean, you can flex them, and they cover enough to keep you protected. Here is the elbow pad. You can see that it's fairly small, and like its big brother, the knee cover, it is gonna have a gasket. You can use it or you can choose not to use it. That's up to you. Now, I have one major gripe about these pads. On this tip here, you can see that it's not coming apart or anything. It seems to be of fairly high quality, but the issue that I have with it is that when I'm trying to put it on and I try to push it through the eyelet, you can see over here, it folds back and it fights me to get in. And then I strap it in place, but when I want to take it out, I open it like this, and you can see it fights to come out because it has that same issue there where it's not sewn down far enough along the edges. And it's a minor annoyance, but it is an annoyance, and hopefully in the future TXJ Sports will address this issue, and I think that will make an easier user experience for these pads. Now, like I said, they're thin enough that I can wear them under my clothes, and I like that. So I wear athletic clothes all the time, and with wrist guards, you don't really have to worry about that. I have used both wrist guards, and I can tell you that the one thing that I like about them is not only do they have the plate in the hand that actually covers the underside of the wrist that you would normally fall on if you fall and accidentally put your hands down, but it also has a plate here in the top that runs along the shape of your wrist. And that, I find, when I did fall on these, it really helped to keep my hand in that stiff and stable position. And like I said, they were effective. They did their job every time that I've fallen. They haven't failed on me. They stay in place. They don't move around. And that's one thing that I really like because, again, the gaskets that you put on under your clothes, the little armored gaskets, they're great. They're comfortable. But the problem that I have is that if I want to put them on under pants that are a little tighter and I can't always pull up above the knee, they may move around and it becomes really difficult to adjust them. But with these, I can just strap them on as tight as I want and keep them in place. They have a solid grip. The Velcro does. You can hear how loud it peels. So I feel like the Velcro is good quality. The wrist guards are good quality. I feel that judging on the size of the pads, the thickness of the pads, how they're made, the fact that they're very flexible and bendable. These plates are very secure. The eyelets are nicely made. I've not found any defects or quality issues with them, but they are fairly small. You have to consider the amount of surface area that you're covering and whether or not that is acceptable for you. You have to consider whether you have a decent technique when it comes to falling, because if you're a little heavier, maybe you are going to feel a little bit of shock through these pads, albeit they still will protect you. There is a significantly thinner spot that the kneecap fits into, and that is good that it has something to help hold it in place, but also I don't know how I feel about the thickness of the outer shell while the inner padding starts to become thinner on the more sensitive part of the knee, the kneecap. The elbow pad also has that same sort of thinness so that the elbow can fit in. And again, I get why they are that way, so that the bendable part of the joint has some place to go. But we just have to consider the fact that the outer shell is fairly thin. So where should we use these, or where are they acceptable to use? In my opinion, these are really great for city strolling, city cruising. If you want to go out for a day in the city and you just want to have a good time and skate without getting crazy and without doing extremely daring things, these pads and the proper headgear are going to probably keep you pretty safe. And again, I have to stress, I think that they are comfortable. The issue that I have with them is when we start talking about getting into skate parks and the more dangerous avenues, maybe roller derby, where you're going to be falling on your knees a lot intentionally sometimes. And you have the risk of, banging your knee on the edge of a rail or something like that. We're talking more dangerous scenarios, and in my opinion, we really need a lot of protection there. So for that, I would consider something bigger and thicker with more coverage. When I think about what I would use for something like that, I think about my scabs, knee pads, and elbow guards. A friend of mine bought me these many years ago, and they've been extremely solid. These things cover so much of the knee, and they bend very little, if at all, and they're very thick. And when I fall hard on them, I don't feel any shock or impact really at all. So I would just bear that in mind, that if you're looking for something more in the realm of pads to use in the skate park, extremely fast downhill skating, or something really daring, especially if you don't have the skill to really look out for yourself, I would say that you probably need something thicker and more durable. If you consider the price tag, I think the TXJ Sports pads cost about $15, and these scabs pads might cost you around $50 or more. I honestly don't know the price. I will put it on the screen. They're going to cost significantly more. So if you're new to skating and you want something comfortable, and you want something that is going to protect you but isn't going to get in the way of your baby steps when you're learning, then I think the TXJ Sports model, or Spassive, depending on where you live, model is going to be a great option. And it's not going to break the bank when you buy a set of $100 to $200 skates and then have to spend a bunch of money on pads and a helmet. If I were just skating around in a parking lot, I knew that there were obstacles outside that were going to be dangerous, and I wanted to pad up, I would spend more money on a really good helmet. I would get pads that are comfortable and don't get in the way of your learning process while not being difficult to move around like these gasket pads are. All that said, let me know in the comments, what do you all think about skater safety pads? Do you think that you would be comfortable wearing something really thin, or do you think you would rather have the peace of mind of having really thick and bulky and durable pads and paying the extra money? It's really up to you, so long as you know the risks and the differences between different safety gears. I think that it's all about personal preference, but should you wear pads when you're skating outdoors on concrete and around dangerous obstacles? Yes, you probably should be doing that if you don't want to take the risk of getting a serious injury. If you're a beginner, I most definitely advise it. And with that, I'm going to say, have a great day. That's my review of TXJ Sports pads. You can scroll down to the link in the description and check them out. If you get a pair through that link, just know that I will receive a commission from Amazon for them, and viewers of this channel will get a discount. There's a discount code in the description, or a discount link, I forget which. Just scroll down to the description and you'll find it. I'll put more information down there. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being part of the worldwide skate scene and the Deez Skates fam. Be safe, wear your pads, kids, and I will see you the next time I lace